Coming to the first chairman of today's program, I'd now like to introduce you to Dr. Peter Wilkinson. Apart from being a technical director with the Institution of Fire Engineers, Peter is a chartered engineer, a chartered scientist, a practicing safety and risk engineer, and a registered fire risk assessor. He holds an engineering doctorate where he investigated resilient fire engineering building design. He has published numerous journal and conference papers and authored guidance documents for the profession. Peter will moderate the first panel and guide you through the following program. Peter, with this, if I can ask you to switch on your microphone as well and take over the stage.
Thank you very much, Philip, and welcome everybody to Fire Safety in the Built Environment Passive Fire Protection Systems. And this is a two-part session comprising 3 panelists in each part. I'm honoured to be your chair for today. And as Philip mentioned in his introduction, I am a practicing fire engineer, and I fully understand the essential contribution that effective fire protection makes to a successful building fire safety strategy. I also fully appreciate the importance of competent design and specification of passive fire protection, of high standards of installation workmanship, and of maintenance throughout the life cycle of a building. Thankfully, we have 6 excellent panelists today who are going to speak to us about all these issues. And I have the pleasure of being chair for the first 3 of them. But before we start that, I just want to mention to you all that in my position as a director of the Institution of Fire Engineers, how impressed and delighted I am with the 2021 Fire Safety Forum, organised by an expert team, including our own Institution of Fire Engineers GCC UAE branch president, Peter Stevenson. We're proud of the work of our worldwide branches carry out and the work that they do connecting the fire professions globally. And we're particularly impressed with the work of the GCC UAE branch. If you're not already a member, or not already a member of the IFE or the branch, please get in touch with us. The branch contact details can be found on the IFE website. Now, back to today's proceedings. In our first part of today's sessions, we have 3 panelists who will each give us their presentation. And it's a truly international field. We're going to start off by listening to Ed Claridge, who will be joining us from New Zealand. Ed is the Principal Fire Engineer for Auckland Council and Technical Lead for Fire across the Auckland region. He's well qualified to speak to us. He's got an honours degree in Fire Science from the University of Leeds. He holds a master's degree in Fire Engineering from the University of Canterbury, and he practices as a chartered professional engineer. Now, Ed's presentation today is entitled Past, Present and Future, New Zealand's Passive Journey. So he's going to talk to us about passive fire protection industry in New Zealand. He's going to New Zealand share many of the issues that have been observed internationally. Until recently, little meaningful work has been undertaken to change industry behaviour or the delivery of passive fire protection. So Ed's presentation will outline that journey that has taken place from long-standing recognition of the problem to actual implementation of a range of industry changes that have brought about meaningful improvements to the successful delivery of fire protection. So I'm going to look forward to that. Next, we'll be hearing from Camelia Mateyan, who will be joining us from Belgium. Camelia is product manager of fire-resistant glass for AGC Pyrabel. She's equally well qualified to talk to us. She has a master's in chemical engineering, and she has 6 years of experience in the polymer industry as a development engineer, and 19 years with AGC fire resistance glass as development engineer and product manager. And she's also responsible for testing and certification. Camelia's presentation is entitled Fire Resistant Glass and underlying fire safety technologies. And she's going to be telling us a bit about why we use fire-resistant glass, the standards and the building regulations that dictate its use, fire-resistant glass technologies, and fire-resistant glass combined performances. Finally, in the first part of our session today, we'll be hearing from Matthew Wright, who will be joining us from Australia. Now, Matthew he works for UL, and he's UL's Business Development Manager for Australasia, the built environment. And this was a new position created to spearhead development of UL's service offering tailored to Australia and New Zealand. Matthew has worked in local government and private industry building surveying, as well as having many roles with the Fire Brigade and Australia's Fire Protection Association. His current role is focused on championing product safety and certification solutions. He's also well qualified to talk to us today. He holds a bachelor's degree in building surveying, a graduate certificate in performance-based building and fire codes, and a graduate diploma in fire safety and risk engineering. His presentation is titled Respecting Passive Fire Protection's Role in the Building Fire Safety Strategy. Now, passive fire protection is one of the oldest and most effective forms of containing fire spread in buildings. Unlike active detection and suppression measures, it's largely static in nature, means that it's not always identified as a system. As such, it can suffer a lack of understanding and respect from different stakeholders associated with a building or facility. Yet, designed, installed, and maintained appropriately over the life cycle of a building, passive fire protection represents a highly reliable system that benefits from a lack of moving parts. Matthew will be telling us about how passive fire protection can be integrated with active systems and can ultimately underscore the fire safety strategy for a building, reducing fire spread, supporting adequate evacuation times, and providing redundancy in the event of active system failure. So his presentation will outline the framework for passive fire safety success, drawing on local and international standards. So I'm sure you agree that these are three very interesting presentations that we have now. As Philip mentioned earlier, we will be having a question and answer session at the end of these three presentations. So please feel free to add your questions to the function on the conference platform, and I will do my best to ask questions of the delegates later